welcome back to the STLK and the UTA Cougs podcast. Today's show's really packed. We haven't been back for 3 weeks, I believe. Is that right, Steve?
It's been way too long.
It's been way too long. The football schedule released. BYU basketball's been going crazy, good and bad. And there's just a lot to talk about. First and foremost, former BYU Cougar Puka Nacua played in the All-Star Celebrity Game.
Did you know he was playing ahead of the game? I didn't know.
I did. So on the Pat McAfee show,
okay,
I followed this
Pat
very
loves
closely.
Puka.
He does, and he FaceTimed someone while Puka was on the show. I think to the extent of, "Hey, what does it take to get Puka in this game?" And the guy was like, "Nothing. I don't think." I'm sure we could find a spot.
They're finding random WNBA players. They might as well get Puka.
Yeah, and so they had to find another guy. They found McCole Hardman, who was the Super Bowl winning catch. He played fantastic. Looked
Puka.
like he was. Yeah. He looked great. He did
look great. He had a couple dunks that were really impressive.
Yeah.
I watched. Puka's an Orem High guy.
He is.
You went to Orem High.
I am an Orem High guy.
You guys probably besties.
Not besties, but we were friends.
Same class?
He was younger than me.
By how many years?
A year?
Just a year.
Felt like he was older than me. He was everybody's older brother, actually felt like.
I've been saying this since the moment I watched Puka play football. He's the best high school athlete I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is weird or not. I go to a lot of high school events. Like I love high school football.
I went to a game like yesterday.
Yeah, I love high school basketball. I'm going to the playoffs start tomorrow in 4A, and I'm going to go to the Mountain View game. And I watched Puka play football. I was teaching in Mountain View High School at the time. It was at Orem, and it was 49-0 at halftime.
This is 2018.
I don't remember the year. You would know.
Yeah.
You would know better than I would.
Yeah.
This is Cooper Legault quarterback. This is the Oregon middle linebacker.
Noah Sewell. Yep.
And this is Puka on the outside.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, every other play was just a streak to Puka down the sideline. Cooper Legault would throw it as far as he could.
Javelin. First team All-State javelin. Cooper Legault.
One of two things would happen. Puka would either outrun the guy and just catch it and run in for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Or he would jump over the cornerback and then juke out the safety and then score a touchdown. And it was unbelievable.
He's special. So they actually played Bishop Gorman the year after. And I went down.
His senior year.
I did the broadcasting for that Mountain View game on the radio for Orem. And first of all, they ran the same plays against Bishop Gorman, and it actually worked. It's like you might be feeling bad that Mountain View, it happened to them. It happened to the best team in the nation, too. That game, Orem was up 49-0. Is that right, at halftime?
Against Mountain View?
Yeah.
It was bloodbath.
So me and my buddy, we're sitting next to each other. We're broadcasting the game. We turn around, like mid-third, maybe fourth quarter. Puka Nacua is standing right there. We're like, what in the...
He still has like his pads on?
I can't remember. It might have been right after the game. Either way, he's like, let me hop on. I'm like, is this allowed? Like, can we... He's like,
are you guys in like above?
Yeah, we're up next to the offensive coordinators. Okay. So like we're all right there.
So he's like walked up.
Yeah.
You think he walked up the crowd?
No, you had to go behind the booth. Okay. I think this was right as the game ended because we were still on live air. Either way, he had a great game.
Well, and he did the same thing in the celebrity game.
Yeah.
He just went and sat down on the other commentators. I can't remember who it was. It might have been, who's the former NBA player?
Reggie.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did the game, but it's one of them.
But one of the commentators just took off his headset and just gave it to Puka, and Puka just sat down and they just did like an impromptu interview. So
yeah, he's comfortable on the mic.
Well, and it's working for him. Like he's getting a ton of popularity. Anyway, incredible athlete. He's not that. One of the things I was going to say is he also played basketball at Orem.
Yeah.
So I watched him play basketball, and he honestly wasn't that talented of a basketball player, but just his athleticism and his vertical and his quickness, he just dominated.
He understands the game to a level that like was insane. Like he knew where the ball needed to be at any given moment. And I will say that's a talent that doesn't really go seen.
Sure.
He was one of the smartest basketball players I've ever played with.
And just a freak athlete.
Oh my goodness.
He should have stopped.
He had a dunk against Mountain View. Do you remember this? It was like a drop step, half 360. He dunked on
threw it down.
One of your big guys. Yeah, it was great.
I was just going to say, and he should have stopped passing to Marcus Parsons. I know like he won the MVP and he had like 40 points or whatever. He also took like 44 shots.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
He's kind of like a ball hog.
Puka had 16. I actually bet the over on Puka. It was at 12.5. And I was like, that's too low. Like,
good call. Anyway, shout out Puka.
BYU basketball, UCF. A game that we were up, 20 most of it?
I left my house with a minute to go. I think we're up like 9, maybe a minute and a half to go. My wife and I are sitting on the couch watching the game. I'm a little bit late to basketball. Starts at 9. I'm like, all right, we got it in the bag. I'm going to leave. I turned on the radio, and good thing I did.
Yeah.
I get to the church to play basketball, and somebody had it like on a stereo listening to the game. And I swear from that point, the game went another like 20 minutes.
Are you playing basketball with like 90-year-olds? Who brings a radio to
Not
play
a radio.
basketball?
No, it's like a Bluetooth stereo. And somebody had hooked up the radio to it. But anyway, it was a crazy game. They scored 15 points in the final 54 seconds.
They scored 19 points in the final 2 minutes.
Well, mine's more impressive.
Yeah, it is. But I'm just saying, I'm looking here. It was 69-80 with 2 minutes left.
We were up 11 with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
We had it in the bag.
We won by 2. That's when you probably left.
That's when I left
during the media break.
And then they just could not miss. I think they made 2 3-pointers in the first 39 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And then they finished with 6. They scored 4 3-pointers. I think they had 1 for 2 free throws and then just like a layup. And that was 15 points in the final 54 seconds. They could not miss. A historic, like probably the craziest game I've ever seen. Maybe I shouldn't say seen, listened to, because I wasn't even there watching.
You didn't finish it.
But just insane. And we still won, which is nice.
Yeah, so I was doing the same thing. I was watching the game on my phone, because obviously why have a big TV if you're not going to watch Tangled on it? And we're up by, I think, 4 with it, maybe 30 seconds left. And my buddy calls me and he's like, yeah, I just left the game. It was crazy. And I was like, maybe I'm behind, because it's like not leavable yet.
It was over.
Yeah, it felt, well, when I was watching, it wasn't over yet, because it was like where they were making those
No,
threes.
I'm not saying it's actually over, but it was like...
But for the guy that left, he was like, yeah, the game was crazy. And I was like, oh, I thought like it was kind of close. So I'm like curious when he actually left the building. Anyway, I'm like, he must know more than I do. And I get the final notification. And I'm like, we only won by 2. What just happened? So I had to go back and rewatch it.
We do have to shout out Jackson Robinson. I believe he finished the game 9 for 10 from the free throw line.
9 for 9.
Was he?
Yeah, I believe so. I saw that he didn't miss. So whoever makes he had.
How did he get an odd number then? Well, maybe it was 10 for 10 then.
It had to be.
Either way, he's shooting 89% from the free throw line on the season. Anyway, really impressive number there. But crazy game, historic game. And I really liked Coach Pope's perspective in the post game.
You're right. He missed one with exactly a minute left.
Was it 9 for 10 then?
Yep.
Something like that.
Dang it.
Coach Pope after the game was talking about, just how proud he was of the team. It kind of came off weird at first, but then he started to explain the context. He's like, we took an absolute, like something that will never be replicated again.
Never.
Right. Who did it better, T-Mac or the UCF Knights? Like, and that's really the
T-Mac
conversation.
won.
Right?
Like,
yeah. But like individual, what do you have? 8 points in the final minute or something?
Yeah, something crazy. 7 in like 15 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like UCF, like one of the craziest things you'll ever see, and BYU still pulled it out. And so shout out to our guys for finishing the game, but man, it got close there at the end, way too close.
Oklahoma State.
I'm trying to erase it from my memory.
Real fast, before we jump away from the UCF game, UCF won these categories and lost the game on Tuesday. Offensive rebounds, second chance points, steals, points off turnovers, bench points, paint points, fast break points, and they lost that game against BYU.
Wow.
Every single category I just mentioned, BYU won on Saturday against Oklahoma State and lost the game.
Every single one of those?
Every single one of those, BYU won on Saturday and lost the game. The common denominator there is the home team won both games.
Yeah, it's impossible to win on the road. I shouldn't say impossible. It's so hard to win on the road in the Big 12.
You said the stat. I've said the stat. No Big 12 team has a winning record on the road this year. That's crazy.
BYU's tied for first at 3-3. That's the best record in the Big 12 on the road.
Yeah, that's insane.
Okay, but we got to go back to this.
Yeah.
BYU won all of the... You just rattle off a dozen stats. BYU wins every one, and we still lose.
We still lose.
Well, it wasn't like it was like that close.
No,
like most of the game, it's like we have to have a miracle or it's over.
Concha was talking to me. He's like, dude, we played terrible. I'm like, I don't know if we played terrible. Like, we didn't play great.
We couldn't hit a 3.
Oklahoma State did play incredible. Like, they looked like a top team in the conference that day. Obviously, they're not. They have a whole bunch of young guys, but they played really, really well, and they won the game. I'm not sure how they did it, because you look at the stats and it's like, oh my goodness. But you said it, shot selection.
Well, the two things, that's the tell for me. I've been saying it for weeks now.
Yeah.
The tell for this BYU team is 3-point shot selection. Mm-hmm. If we're settling for bad 3-pointers, it's not going to be a great game for us. Now, we've shot well enough from the 3-point line. We've shot, we have been one of the best teams from 2 in the NCAA this year. So we've shot well enough. We played good enough defense to win a lot of these games. But BYU is not good when we're settling for poor 3-pointers. And that's the tell for me. And in my mind, that's when Coach Pope needs to be calling more timeouts, regrouping the team. And I know he's been very skittish to tell his guys to stop shooting.
Yeah.
He's been on record. He's saying he wants 35 threes a game. He's talked about it in post-game shows, specifically addressing Jackson Robinson, throwing up a lot of threes in a few games ago. But at some point you got to tell your guys, all right, we can get better looks than we're getting, especially against the team that's worse in the league.
It's hard. BYU, I'm not sure if this is true after the game on Saturday, but before the game on Saturday, we have shot more threes than 2s the entire year.
Yeah.
Which is hard, to your point. It's like we don't want them to stop shooting it, but you guys are so good when you do get to the basket. And that might be for a lack of volume. but we do have to attack the basket more, especially against a team like that.
Right, and it shows in our free throws numbers, which we've talked about before too. We usually get out, we never have as many free throws as the opponent. And you and I probably saw the same stat. I think there's only been 5 teams in the last 10 or 15 years that have shot more threes than twos, and BYU currently is one of those teams. And I mean, I don't mind that, right? If we're taking good threes, we should take them. We have the shooters to win basketball games that way. I just have the stat from Greg Wrubell. BYU this season, when we shoot above 33% from three, we're 16-2. When we shoot below 32%, we're 0-5.
That's crazy.
And in my mind, that's the tell, right? And here's the stat to back it up. When we're taking good threes, we make a higher clip and we win the game. When we're taking poor shots, I'm thinking about a lot off those screens, right? We play that 5-out motion offense, and guys will come hard curling off those screens and just turn and shoot. And a lot of times we're off balance or the defender's right there. And anyway, tough looks. And I think that bit us on Saturday, even given that we won a lot of the categories.
We're recording this on Tuesday at 4:00. I don't think this is going to be released before the Baylor game. It's hard, for those who don't know, it's hard to edit something and get it out really quick. It's not an easy thing to do. But I do want to touch on Baylor really quick. Whether we win or lose, I think we can talk about it. BYU opened as a 2-point favorite when the lines dropped. And I apologize for talking about gambling so much, but I feel like it does tell a big story with projected winners and stuff. The line has moved to 4.5 for BYU, which means they are heavy favorites tonight. Do you think that's fair? Do you think BYU's a 5-point favorite tonight?
I would love to say yes, but I don't know. We played in Waco, and we played the whole game with Baylor. We were up by 9 in the second half against Baylor. At that point, that was January 9th, and we were ranked, let me see here. We were ranked 18th, and the Bears were ranked 14th. This week, we're still ranked in the AP poll, 25th. Baylor's ranked 11th. They're on a tear right now, to be honest. They've won 6 of their last 7, I believe. Yeah. 5 of the last 6. They won 5 of the last 6. The only loss was at number 4 Kansas, and the loss previous to this little run they went on was 3 in overtime against TCU, who's a team that should be ranked and isn't ranked.
Yeah.
And so to say that BYU's favorites against a team like this, I mean, BYU does have a great home court advantage. It is a Tuesday. It will not be sold out again, which is unfortunate for a ranked matchup like this. Man, I can't. I don't know that BYU should be a 4.5-point favorite.
That's a lot of points. But here's the. If you think BYU is going to win, they win by more than 5. We've shown that time and time again this year. If we're going to win a game,
true.
We're not winning these games by 2 or 3. Because if we're up by 2 or 3, we're going to lose the game.
We just can't close halves.
We can't, especially in the second half when it actually matters.
Can't close games.
That half is really important to close. If you think Baylor's going to be within 4, just take the money line. You can get positive money there. And again, this isn't gambling advice. It's really interesting that Vegas is basically saying if BYU wins, it is going to be by more than a couple, in my opinion. In my mind, those are the 2 most likely scenarios. I think the most likely scenario is Baylor wins close. Yep.
And the second most likely scenario is BYU comes out on a tear. They're shooting from 3 well. The defense, the energy in the building, and they win by 11, 12 points. I think those are the 2 most
I'm really
likely.
Excited to clip that exact what you just said and
put it up against
post
the score.
it and be like, oh my goodness, look what just happened.
But I mean, BYU, I think Baylor's playing their best basketball of the season right now, and we can't say that BYU is, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
We've been giving up a ton of points. We dropped, I think, from top 20 in total defense to 50 something in 2 games. The Cougar stats post here. I love Cougar stats on X. BYU has allowed 111 points in the last 2 halves against the 2 worst offenses in the Big 12.
UCF scored 66 in the second half?
And that was the second half, and then the Oklahoma State first half. And so unfortunately, when you get closer and closer to March, you get, to these crunch time games, you want to be playing your best basketball, right? You want to start to peak at this moment.
We peaked at the wrong time.
And unfortunately, we peaked at the wrong time.
And I hate to change gears. Other sports are like this. Like the Chiefs, a lot of people thought they peaked at the wrong time because they were really good at the beginning of the year. They could have been 9-0, had a couple catches gone their way, and everyone said they peaked too early. But they were a really good team. They turned it on at the end. I think BYU can do the same. I don't think in the locker room they're like, yeah, we already peaked. Like,
yeah, we probably shouldn't say they've already peaked because who knows what happens.
Yeah, they've played really good basketball though,
and they still have to get to the Final Four. So at some point they have to play better than they're playing now.
They really do. If you're going to buy that stock, now's the time. Let's talk tournament real quick.
Yeah,
is that okay? Joe Lunardi does the ESPN bracketology. He's incredible. He has BYU as a 6 seed before this game with a down arrow, which means they're losing stock, which is okay. CBS, BYU's a 7 seed. Bleacher Report, BYU's a 7 seed. The Athletic, they don't do a bracket, but they do like who's a lock, who's in, who's on the bubble. BYU's not on the bubble. Whoever wrote it, I didn't see who wrote it.
But projected in, right?
Projected in. This is the question I have for you, Steve. What does BYU need to do in the final? Let's assume we lose to Baylor tonight, because everyone's going to be listening to this after we already played this game. What does BYU need to do in these last 5 games to be a lock for the tournament? Is there a scenario where we only win 1 and we're a lock?
So you're saying we finished the season like 1-6? Mm-hmm. Well, I think so much rides on the Big 12 tournament as well, right? If we finish the season 1-6, we have to play the first day, which really sucks. We don't get the first round bye.
Correct.
Gregor Bell put out a stat that on February 20th, every team in BYU's position has made the tournament. There's never been a team as high as they are in the net. BYU's still like top something in the net, top 10, top 11?
98.8%. I had that stat written down. So everyone that's been in the top 20 of KenPom on February 20th has made the tournament 98.98% of the time.
So a virtual lock, right?
Virtual lock, but this is the actual lock. On February 1st, anyone in the top 10 since 1996 has been in the postseason 100% of the time.
And we were.
We're number 9.
I mean, we could have a historic falling out. The way we finish games, if we finish the season like that, something could go terribly wrong. It was either Joel Lenardi or Ken Pomeroy from the beginning of the season said if BYU can go, from the beginning of conference play, if BYU can go 500 in the Big 12, they're in. Right now they're 6-6, so they're sitting at that mark. But we do have tough games upcoming. We play the number 2 team in the conference, the number 3 team in the conference, the number 4 team in the conference, and the number 5 team in the conference. We have some really tough away games coming up. But to get in the tournament, I think, so we have 6 games left?
Yes. Well, 5 after tonight.
Okay.
So
I think to be a lock for the tournament, we got to go 2-4 at the very least.
I agree. So if we can beat TCU, we play them at home, beat Oklahoma State at home, and beat Kansas State, we're for sure a lock. Like, we're absolutely in this thing.
Kansas State's in Manhattan.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We could lose in the first round of the tournament or Big 12 tournament, and that's okay. If we lose against Baylor, lose against Kansas State, lose against Kansas, which are all tough games, it's no cakewalk, and then beat TCU and Oklahoma State, I agree. I think we're probably in. I think that TCU game, I think TCU should be ranked when they do come to Provo, which is going to help us a lot.
They should be ranked right now.
Yeah, they should be. BYU maybe shouldn't be.
Yeah, I'll take TCU over BYU.
But I think if we, to your point, I think if we can go 2-4 these last 6 games, I think we're a virtual lock to get in the tournament.
Yeah, and talking about seeding, I saw a stat that BYU's, right now, there's a bunch of people that do brackets, right?
Yeah.
I think BYU's average seed was like 5.88. I would love to get a 6 seed at this point. Mm-hmm. Like a couple weeks ago, I would have been shooting for like a 5, maybe a 4 seed.
Yeah.
But at this point, like a 6 seed, I think feels good. What I would hate to have happen is we slide to end the year and we end up with the 8 seed, right? And you play in that 8-9 game, it's tough.
Yep.
And you win a game and you're excited, and then now you get the 1 seed.
You're like, great, here's
right?
UConn. You're
yeah,
like,
yeah. But if we can get like that 6 or 7 seed and get, that gives us a way better chance to get to the Sweet 16. It would just be such a disappointment to have a first round exit given this season that we've had and all the excitement and hype around this team, to have a first round exit in the NCAA tournament would be a massive disappointment.
Kansas State 4-2 at home, Kansas 6-0 at home, Kansas State 6-0 at home. They're combined 16-2 at home. Those are the last 3 remaining away games.
It's so hard to win away games in the Big 12.
It's impossible. Last night, Houston and Texas, they both just went at home.
Which, and those were great games.
Yeah.
But it just makes tonight all the more important for BYU, right? Mm-hmm. You have a top 15 team coming to Provo. We have to get this game, especially given the tough road games we have on the rest of the schedule.
If the season ended today, before the Baylor game, even if we lose to Baylor, actually, it'd stay the same. First round bye in the Big 12. We'd play number 7 Texas, and then Houston, and then Baylor again, and then Kansas, and that'd be to win the Big 12. Tough road. To get away from those matchups, we'd have to finish in the top 4. I'm actually going to put the graphic right here, or have Conjo do it. Thanks, Conjo. The graphic right here of the tournament. The top 4 teams get a bye.
They get a double bye, don't they?
They get a double bye, excuse me, yeah. I don't think BYU can make it there. So we just have to avoid falling backwards into that first day matchup.
Right.
Which is really important.
I'm with you. You ready for some quizzes?
Let's do it.
Some stat quizzes? All right, here we go. I'm giving you 5 stat categories, and you have to tell me which BYU basketball player leads the team in each category.
Hard.
It's going to get from easy to hard.
I believe it.
First one, points per game.
Jackson Robinson.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah, I mean, he's our guy. He's a first-round draft pick.
Well, that's what they were saying for a while.
Yeah,
He's falling off.
Real fast, why is he not starting?
Well, they've gone back and forth with him and Spencer and Trevin. Trevin had that injury, so he got pulled from the starting 5.
I get it. And in fact, like, I'm all for like having a spark off the bench. Start the game with
You're
your
a
best
big
5
Jackson
players.
guy.
I'm a huge Jackson
We
guy.
might disagree on this.
He makes shots that no one else on the team can make.
That's true.
Come March, we are going to be in a game. I already know it. I see it. Where we're down 2 with 45 seconds left, and we need a bucket. We need Jackson to have as many opportunities to make a shot like that before that time comes, so he's comfortable doing it.
I do think he's a player unlike most BYU basketball players.
Yeah.
I watched him dunk last year, like in traffic, and he dunked, and I'm like, I haven't seen that at BYU in a while.
Never.
Just athlete, right?
Brandon Davies, where are you?
But man, I just go back to shot selection. I'm just an efficiency guy.
I know.
You know,
I know.
you're probably like a volume shooter. I'm like,
no, like
take
I'm
good
all
shots.
for. I'm all for the 10 good shots. Your volume and your efficiency does not matter when we need 1 bucket. We're
That's
down
true.
2. Anyway,
I'll give you
Jackson
that.
Robinson leads us in points.
Okay, this one's much harder though. Who's second? This doesn't count. This is just a little backup.
Who's second?
Who's second on the team? I bet you don't get this.
Spencer Johnson.
No, it's Trevin Nell.
Really?
Second on the team, 11.6 points a game.
Sure.
BYU has 5 players that are double-digit scores on average. There's not a
Really?
lot of teams in the country that can say that.
No, but no
Very
one
balanced.
averages over, what, 15, 14?
Yeah, so Jackson's at 13.8 right
Yeah,
now.
no,
So
over 14.
very, very balanced team. Okay, rebounds per game.
Rebounds. Waterman?
Waterman, 6.0.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one that the second is way harder than the first. Who do you
Okay.
think second on the team in rebounds?
That is hard. Dallin Hall?
Okay.
Is it?
Decent guess. No, he's a good rebounding for a point guard, I
Yeah.
think. It's actually Spencer Johnson, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. Not a huge guy, not a big body, but he gets in there.
He does.
Not
He's
afraid
aggressive.
to rough it up. Here you go. This is number 3. So you're 2 for 2 right now.
Yeah.
Blocks per game.
It's not Foose. It's not whatever his name is.
It's not Khalifa.
Khalifa, thank you. It's not him. He's a big guy though.
You've mentioned number 2 and 3.
Wow. Okay. It's not Johnson because I feel like that'd be a bigger stat if it was Johnson.
It's not Johnson.
Is it Atiki?
It is. It is a tiki.
Okay.
The reason I brought this up, BYU is, of all the stat categories that BYU is near the top of the NCAA, blocks is not one of them.
I was gonna say we never block shots.
Yeah, we're very in the bottom 50, I believe.
How many does he average per game?
A tiki is 0.6.
Yeah,
but that's in 12 minutes.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad for 12 minutes if you went per minute. Okay, field goal percentage. You're 3 for 3.
Okay, field goal percentage. Dallin Hall.
Dallin Hall is mid-tier on the team.
Dang.
Dallin Hall is only at 45%.
Oh, really?
It's another big.
Khalifa.
It's not. He shoots
Foose.
too many threes. It is Foose. Yeah,
There you go. There
he
you
gets
go.
to that right hand when
He
his foot
does.
gets in
It's
the paint.
unstoppable,
And
man.
yeah, he doesn't
when
get
he
stopped.
goes up and under, something sparks in my chest. I'm like, I love it. Oh my gosh.
Okay, last one. You're 3 for 4.
Okay.
Free throw percentage.
Oh, Jackson Robinson.
Ooh, that's what you thought, huh? Townsend triple when he's 9 for 10 on the season.
Oh, okay. Does
Come
that
on.
count?
Oh, I didn't give a
Eligibility
threshold.
matters here.
9 for 10. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Shout out to the mustache. Come on.
Who's second? Jackson Robinson. I feel like I just got tricked there, man. 9 for 10.
Hey, I'm pretty impressed. He did a good job.
Let's see. I'm going to pull up the stats here. How many has Jackson shot? He's shot.
I'm a lot more.
He's 39 for 44.
Well, Jackson shot more free throws in the final minute of that UCF game than Townsend Triple has all season.
That is true. Spencer Johnson's shooting pretty good,
But
too.
he also doesn't have the same mustache that Townsend Triple has.
He doesn't.
Okay, here's a wild card. You're
Yeah.
never going to get this. 3-point percentage.
Oh, that's tough.
This one's a trick, too.
It's a trick. I'm looking at the stats right now. I hate that you put Foose there, man. 2 for 3, 66%. Come on.
Foose is 2 for 3 on the
Yeah,
season. I didn't know. I don't remember him taking a shot.
No, me neither. I actually do
Trevinello.
remember one of them.
Trevin Nell is still top 50 in the country in 3-point percentage.
Where's he at?
40.7.
That's so good.
That's really good.
That's so impressive.
Especially considering he's had some tough games of late. But
Like
yeah.
you watch these Big 12 games, dude, and like it feels like there's never an open shot.
Well, you watched Houston, Texas last night.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
both of them. Yeah,
The Houston Iowa State game, I watched the first half. The first like 12 minutes of the game, Iowa State had like 10 points.
6 with 7 minutes left in the first half. They had 6 points,
6 points.
which is like Houston only had 19. Like they weren't down 30. Like
Right.
they both are such good defensive teams. The fact that BYU has beaten Iowa State this year, talk
Unbelievable.
about a resume builder.
That's like the best one we've had in probably years.
Yeah, and I remember watching the game and I was like, how are we doing this? And we came out with a win. That's awesome.
And they're a really good and balanced team.
They're incredible. They are incredible.
BYU is a balanced team too. I like our team aspect. Right?
I like those quizzes. Those were fun. I like
You
those
did
a lot.
well. Good work.
Do we have enough time for... I forgot we're not doing Steve Slate. Unless you want to.
Dang it.
I mean, we've only got like 20. We're at 25 minutes.
Let's just do it real quick. No one's
on,
going to listen this
Conjo.
far anyway.
Yeah, you can cut this out. You can cut this out.
Well, you got to throw me a wild card. I give you 4. Throw me a wild card.
A wild card. Okay.
Do the over 0.5 on text about firing Pope from Conjo.
All right. You ready? I think we have enough time for Steve Slate.
We have to. It's game day.
You texted it to me. I'm going to read them off.
It's game day.
Foose, over or under 3.5 free throws attempted?
We just talked about Foose is a good free throw shooter.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that?
No. Talk about his 3-point percentage. His scorching hot.
Foose is 78% free throw shooter. That's good for a big guy.
That's really good for big guys. It's really good for college.
So the line is what, 3.5?
2.5. Yeah, 3.5.
3.5 free throws. He's had a tough couple games. He's been so hot and cold. At West Virginia, he had like 29 points. They decided not to double team him. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say they're going to gamble with Foose tonight, and he's going to have a really good night, getting his feet in the paint, getting fouled. He likes the up and under. I'm going over 3.5.
Okay. Attendance. This one's kind of hard. Over or under 16,500.
I keep talking about it. They have way overpriced tickets, which is unfortunate.
Lowest is what, $40 tonight? And
Yeah,
no one's
they're
even going
so
to be there.
expensive.
I thought about going, and I'm like, man, that's just like $100 after fees to get me and my wife there for a game in the nosebleeds.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, and it's unfortunate, but it feels like a lot of BYU's best games this year have been the Tuesday night game.
Yeah.
Whereas most of the Saturday games are sellouts already, even though they're not their best games.
Yeah.
And so if we could get, better games on Saturday, that'd be nice. But over under 16.5, BYU is one of the best attendance teams in the country. We have one of the biggest arenas in the country, which helps. It's a top 25 matchup. I'm going to go over 16.5.
I like it. Jackson Robinson, over or under 4 3-pointers attempted. I'm actually going to make this harder. 4.5.
I was going to go over either way. Yeah,
Okay,
I'll go over.
cool.
He
Yeah, I was
just
gonna
loves to
say,
shoot the ball.
He loves it, dude.
He
I don't blame him,
loves
dude. If I had a shot like
to
that, I'd
shoot
be
the
shooting
ball.
all the time, too.
Definitely over.
Caleb Lohner.
Welcome back to Provo.
Well, he's back. I don't know if it's a welcome
He's back.
He's here.
Do you think BYU fans cheer, boo, they're indifferent, they forgot who he
I
was?
think they forgot who he is, dude. I
Really?
had a buddy ask me like a month ago before that Baylor game. He's like, "Where's Lohner?" I'm like, "Huh?
Well, he's only averaging 2.5 points a game.
How many minutes does he average?"
I think like 7 or 8. He's averaging like 2.5 rebounds.
When he was coming out of high school, I thought he was the next thing.
He looked like the next thing. He had the body and the hair for the next thing.
He does have the hair for it, doesn't he?
Can we get a picture of Caleb Lohner?
Yeah, the Greek
The
god.
Greek god himself next to like the David statue.
Over or under Caleb 3.5 points.
He averages under that.
Yeah.
On the road. I think he's going to try to play well in front of his old fans.
He tried to play hard when he was in Provo. Like, I don't think he's not trying hard.
I do think he'll get like a mild
Yeah, I mean, like
from the fans.
This
Like, hey, we remember that guy.
I'm not saying Caleb's not a good basketball player. He's better than a lot of guys in the world.
Sounds like you're saying that.
I just think BYU knows what they're doing, and he averages less than your over-under. So taking the over is insane.
I'm going to take the over.
Okay, that's insane.
Listen, he's trying to play well for the fans. He might have some family in town. I don't know. He's from Texas, but maybe he made some friends here that are going to come and show out. He's going to try to play well.
Can I give you a wild card one? Over or under 153.5 points.
Is that the line?
That's the line. These teams average 80 and 78 points per game.
I was looking at the comparable stats. It's pretty close, like most of the way down the stats.
I feel like that over-under is really low, which is funny because Vegas really inflates these numbers. So 153, where do you land on that?
I was going to say earlier, it seems like a theme in that when you talked about Iowa State having 8 points in like 13 minutes, it seems like a lot of these Big 12 games start out like really slow. Like I would love to see a stat second half versus first half scoring in the Big 12. I'm going to have to pull that for next week or something. 153. So that's what? 76.5 points per team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to feel like it's going to go over that.
You have to feel like it, right?
Have I gone over in everything though?
I'm pretty sure you have.
All right, then I got to take the under for one of them.
I actually like the under there a lot. I actually love it.
I think it's like a slow paced defensive game.
So, yes, I do. So Iowa State and Houston last night, their over-under was 133.5.
Well, that's super low.
Super low.
Both two of the top defensive teams in the country.
It hit the over, though.
Did it?
It did.
But after the first half, you wouldn't have guessed that.
Never.
That's what I'm saying. The first half is so slow.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even if it's slow tonight, I do think it hits the over. And I don't hate you going over on all 5 of them. I don't know. It's just something to think about.
It's a gamble.
We talked a lot of Baylor. I apologize. Hopefully we won when you're watching this, so it feels a little bit better. We'll be back here next week on Tuesday. This has been the STLK and the UTA Cougs Pod. Thanks for listening.